Hi, this is Sally Morgan, physical therapist, craniosacral therapist, and Tellington T-Touch practitioner for animals and people. And this is Tristan, who is a Corgi. And this is an episode of Conversations with a Corgi. And today we're going to talk about something that really means a lot to me. It's a big part of my life. And I think that as you begin to understand what this is, that you will find that it becomes a big part of your life as well. I work with animals and have had the great luck to work with them and good fortune to work with them for a long time, many years, 35 years. And it started with my mother, who loves animals so much. And she grew up on a farm, and it was very painful to her when animals had to become food. But she learned early on how to love them in a way that is very deep and profound, that was really unusual in her generation. And my sister and I were so lucky that she was our mother, because we have been able to love animals deeply all of our lives and allow them to be in the house. There was never a time when dogs were looked at as less than. And so what I want to talk about today is something called heart coherence. There is now a place called the Heart Math, like Mathematics Institute, Heart Math Institute, and they are doing a lot of research about the heart. And one of the most interesting things that I have found, and other T-Touch practitioners about this, is this idea of heart coherence. And I think that's one thing that helps you connect deeply with an animal, whether it be yours or another one. And I have found in my life many people come to me with an animal that on the phone, when they're describing it, it sounds like the animal has a lot of problems. Their dog has been biting people, their cat has been scratching, the horse is running away and running them over, and sometimes bucking when they're riding him. And I get a little nervous thinking, oh my gosh, do I know how to help this animal? And then I go to see the animal, and I just see them totally differently than their person because of this idea of heart coherence. And so I am able to connect with that animal deeply, almost immediately upon meeting them. And that establishes a bond of trust and cooperation between us, so that I never see the dog biting people or the cat scratching people or the horse bucking and running away. I only see the perfection of the animal and the beauty and the integrity of their soul. And it's because of this idea of heart coherence. So what is heart coherence? It's about the relationship that you establish between yourself and another animal, but heart coherence is also part of what allows you to connect deeply with other animals. At the Heart Math Institute, they're doing research about deepening our connections with ourselves and others, and all beings are energetically connected through the heart's magnetic field. They cannot detect, as far away as they can get, a place where there is no place to measure the energy coming off of the human heart. Now think about that. If we can be miles and miles away in space and still detect the heart's energy, think of what a powerful, amazing organ our heart is. And think about a horse with a heart so much bigger than ours. And a lot of dogs' hearts are the same size as ours. And anyone who spends time with a dog will know that their heart is way bigger than ours. They are so compassionate for the most part. And so this connection through heart coherence creates trust. And I will tell you what the Heart Math Institute, how they define heart coherence. They say that, and you can find this at heartmathinstitute.com, heart coherence is the flow of intuitive awareness and understanding and inner guidance. Awareness, understanding, and inner guidance that we experience when the mind and emotions are brought into a coherent alignment with the heart. So when your mind and emotions are in alignment with your heart, it can be activated through a self-initiated practice. And there actually is an app that you can get for your phone for heart coherence from the Heart Math Institute. The more coherent we are, and the more we pay attention to our deep inner intuitive guidance, the greater our ability to access this intelligence more frequently. So the more you are able to pay attention to your intuition and your inner guidance, the more easy it becomes to access this idea of heart coherence. Heart intelligence underlies the cellular organization and guides and evolves organisms towards increased awareness, order, and coherence in their body systems. So this idea of heart intelligence in this statement implies that our evolution as an organism and our awareness and health in our body is part of heart coherence. And it really does matter. I don't know about you, but I'm sure all of us have had a time in our lives when we're working at a job that we don't like and that it doesn't resonate with us on many levels. Maybe we are having to not be, I know, for instance, in teaching, you can't hug kids anymore. You're not allowed to touch them, really. And so there's got to be days when teachers' hearts are breaking because they want to hug a child so desperately and they're not allowed to. And for me, working in the health professions for the years that I did, it is so against my nature and feelings and my heart to have to rush people through a session and to not give them the full amount of time that they need and to spend 30 minutes of their 40 minutes of time writing their notes, otherwise I won't be able to get it done. That is not in balance with my intuition and my mind and my heart. So all of us have had a job where you are doing something that is not resonating with you. And it could be that you need to connect with people and you're in an office doing paperwork all day. Or it can be the kind of paperwork you're doing. You know, it's a lot of jobs that people have do not resonate with their need and desire to further better themselves and others. And so that can leave you out of heart coherence. But there are things that you can do even in that situation to bring you into heart coherence. And for me, working in the physical therapy field in managed care, I was able to do heart hugs with my clients and also take a deep breath and just calm myself and really connect with the person that I was seeing no matter what was going on, and to explain to them, you know, I'd really love to have an hour with you, but they only give us a half an hour. And so I want you to do these 3 things when you leave to continue our session even though we have to end here. So you can change that environment, but if you are constantly working in a situation where you're out of heart coherence, you will get sick. It weakens your immune system, it weakens your body, you'll be more prone to injury. And this is why you see some people, for me in my fields, I have seen CNAs with very little training but who have big hearts. And they are able to work for years doing things that would have really devastated people physically. But because they're in heart coherence and they are so tuned into the people they're working with, their body is actually stronger and healthier because they are in heart coherence. The people who hate the job and don't like the people they're working with are more prone to injury with the lifting and carrying and all of that. So it's really important to find your way to heart coherence, particularly when you're working with animals. The further definition saying logical, orderly, and harmonious connectedness between parts of a system and between people. So they have coined several other ideas about heart coherence, that you can have heart rhythm coherence, physiologic coherence, social coherence, and global coherence. And part of that is being true to yourself, really, on a basic level, and tuning into what your intuition tells you is right, and also being in a place of compassion and understanding and love, as opposed to being in a place of fear, anger, and anxiety. These things are not part of heart coherence. And if you get the app, I can tell you what it's like. It's free, it's easy to download, and it just looks like a little graph with a little thing going up and down like this, and you watch that little thing, little red line, and you time your breathing in and breathing out to follow that line. And the longer you do it, the more you will be able to come into heart coherence. So you just hold it, your phone, when you do this. And it just is a matter of slowing your breath, slowing your body, slowing your mind, and coming into a place of quiet understanding and listening. And it's similar in yoga to taking those breaths where you breathe in for 4, hold for 4, and breathe out for 4. But it's not as simple as that. It's a longer, deeper breath. And it's pretty easy to do it once you practice it a little bit. Like when I first got the app, I practiced it for a day, and after that I was able to get myself into heart coherence in just a couple of breaths. And if I don't practice frequently, sometimes I get out of practice and it takes a few more breaths to get into heart coherence. So it's an intentional self-generation of feelings of compassion, care, love, and renewing emotions, like healthy emotions. And when you feel that in the presence of an animal, it brings you into heart coherence with that animal. And if you have my book, Dances of the Heart, Connecting with Animals, there are many stories in it. For instance, there's one about a horse named Bubba that I met at a clinic I was doing. He was my client horse that day, and he came stomping into the ring, snorting, and the person was screaming at him and yanking on the halter. He was in a horrible situation, and he was dangerous. That's why the person was being like this, because she didn't know how to be otherwise. And I tell you, I had a relationship with that horse for a year after that, before we had to sell him. And he just, as soon as I looked in his eyes and met him with compassion and love, and, you know, I'm sorry for what's happened to you, but we will do everything we can to make your life better from now on, he immediately quieted, immediately. And it's not like your heart rate is going to be the same as a horse or a dog, because dogs' hearts beat faster and horses are slower. But it's a matter of synchrony in your organisms. And maybe the dog or his heart's rate is beating at a certain rhythm compared to mine, like half the amount or twice the amount of mine, depending on whether the animal is bigger or smaller. But it's not as simple as that. It's really about bringing your whole body into a quiet place to really listen to the animal and really hear them. And the important thing with a horse like Bubba, who was really suffering, is not to feel sorry for them. To be in heart coherence, you have to appreciate them for how they are, and also be neutral to the possibility that they can change. Because if you get too wrapped up in your emotions of feeling sorry and angry at the people that did this, you are out of heart coherence, and you can't help them, and you can't help the person that may be with that animal, because sometimes the person doesn't feel good. If they've had an animal that they can't manage, I'm sure more than once they've done things that they have regretted. And so you need to be in heart coherence with that animal as a way to help the person get into heart coherence. And it's so sad to me that in the animal world, a lot of people love their animals and really appreciate them, and yet they can't stand up for them when they're in the presence of the all-knowing trainer or the vet or, you know, whoever it might be, the horse dentist or the foot trimmer or the groomer or the breeder. So many of us defer immediately to that person's opinion that may be totally against what we think. So it's really important that we stand up for our animals and say, no, I don't think that's good. No, you're not going to vaccinate my dog another time. And no, I don't like what you're doing with my horse. I don't feel comfortable about riding this way. I'm going to stop. I'm not going to work with you anymore. I'm going to find somebody else, or I'm going to ride on my own. And with our dogs, you know, I don't like how stressed he is when he comes back from the groomer. I'm going to find a different groomer. Or try to work with that person and be present with them to help your dog be more comfortable at the groomer. So there are so many times in our lives with animals when we don't stick up for them, and we need to do that, because that will bring us into heart coherence with them, and we will have the possibility of changing that person, because it's not just our animal that is struggling with them. Maybe there may be other people who can't stand up for themselves and their animals. So heart coherence is really important. And having a group of people in heart coherence, we do this at T-Touch trainings, I do it in my craniosacral classes, where all of us take a moment and put our hands on our hearts and connect with love and compassion for the world of animals. And when that happens, and we've got 20 people in the room and maybe 20 animals, all in heart coherence, our intention to make the world a better place for animals really can leave that group and have a big effect on what is around us in the energetic field. So heart coherence is different from entrainment. Entrainment is when some body systems like breathing or heart rate become synchronous, or your craniosacral rhythm even. But there is a variation in your potential heart rate or respiration rate, and that's where the heart coherence lies, is in that variation. And heart coherence is a reflection of orderly and harmonious synchrony in your body. So that means if you're taking slow, deep breaths, your heart is beating slower, you're coming from a place of compassion and understanding and love, and that is going to be healthy for you, for your immune system, as well as for your animal around you. And this kind of connecting with animals improves their hormonal balance and yours as well. It helps with energy, composure, and clear thinking. So heart coherence is a really important part of being with animals. And I'll just tell you here what Linda Tellington herself said, which is written in my book. Linda reminds us that heart coherence, as researched by the HeartMath Institute in Boulder Creek, California, is achieved by controlling one's breath and quieting one's thoughts while coming from a place of gratitude. There is value in learning to monitor your emotions, giving thanks for small things, and smiling. And we accomplish this often, this connection with heart coherence in T-Touch, by doing a heart hug. But you don't even have to do a heart hug, and we will do one. But really, you just need to, oh my gosh, my poor dog has purple hair dye on him. That never happens. Well, he's a little periwinkle. We're in synchrony with our colors. So what you can do with your dog or your cat or even the birds outside is just bring your hands to your heart and close your eyes and think about how much you love that animal. And take slow, deep breaths, trying to breathe in and out for the same length of time. And just quieting your mind and taking those breaths make you able to come into synchrony with your animal. And it's really important, as I said, like if you see an animal online that needs rescuing or that has been rescued and you get angry and you feel sad, bringing yourself to a place of heart coherence is a way to cope with that, because it is really stressful for all of us when we see an animal that has been in a bad situation. And you know, we can't send $20 to every single person that wants money to help animals. We're not that rich. So what we can send is love and heart coherence. And so one of the ways I do that is also with a heart hug. And that is placing your hands over your heart. You're imagining a face of a clock. The 6 is here, the 12 is here, and you're going to go around a circle and a quarter around that clock as you take a deep breath in and out. And as you do this, you're going to imagine love for that animal and appreciation and compassion. And then you can pause and do some more circles. Bisky. And this is a great way also to connect with an animal who has passed from your life. I do this often to thank my corgis and my horses and my bunnies for helping me with so much that I've learned from them in my life. And even animals that are still alive that I just don't see. I sometimes think about a dog or a horse that I worked with, 5 years ago, and send them gratitude. That is often true for me. Thank you for sharing, because we can't afford to give. Yes, it's true. We can't send money to all these animals. And it's so important to be able to send them our love and the people who are helping them. So just take a deep breath in and send love and compassion and make that circle around your heart, a circle and a quarter. And sometimes with my own dog, can you sit up a little bit, Tristan? You can do a circle and a quarter, or you can do a heart hug on your dog, on their chest. And I just breathe in and do that circle and a quarter and thank you for all the dogs on earth. Thank you for all the wonderful things that dogs on earth do for people. please be with all of the dogs that are suffering and send them my love. And this is something you can do with your dog. It will bring you a deeper connection with your dog, but you can also help all those other dogs by doing this. And, you know, so many of our breeds now have so many genetic problems that we have created in them. And it's so important to forgive the people that are trying to make good dogs for us, and also to, you know, send compassion for those dogs that are suffering with the things that we have bred into them. Just got a little phone call there. So one of the things I do too, there was some recent Corgi rescues in upstate New York. They had a woman who had been a backyard breeder, shall we say, and she just had many struggles in her life and just left her dogs for like a month. And a lot of Corgis were there, and a big poor German Shepherd was really suffering, but they've all been rescued. They went to the tiny little shelter in the town, and they're starting to place those dogs in homes. But during the time the dogs were there, there was a series of, you know, mad flying Facebook messages among the Corgi people. And we all wanted to help those dogs so much, and we all wanted to run there right away. And you know, shelters have to do things the way they do things. So what I did, I called them and offered them my emotional and verbal support, offered to come up there and work with the dogs, but it was 2 hours away. But I sent them positive thoughts, like these dogs are going to be fine, they're going to learn to be with people. And I did a lot of heart hugs on Tristan, saying, love those Corgis that are in upstate New York, let them find wonderful homes. Let them all be loved. Let them all be healthy. Let that senior gal who's 14 find a good home that's going to support her in her old years. Let those little puppies find great homes where they can play with other dogs and have wonderful lives. So doing these heart hugs with these positive thoughts not only helps you, but it does definitely go out into the energetic field and help those other animals. So heart coherence is really important, not just from your perspective with one dog and with your own body, but I'm not a person who meditates very well. I've had tons of training. I'm a yoga teacher. I can meditate, but I just don't like it. I do like moving meditation. I have a labyrinth in my yard. Tristan and I will walk slowly around it and send compassion to all beings. But this doing these heart hugs is my way of meditating and to just send compassion to the universe and to the animals in the world, and to love my dog, every dog I've ever owned or known, and to feel compassion for them and love. And even, one of the things that I'm seeing on Facebook a lot now, about once a week, there is a story about a dog who is attacking another dog or a person. And that creates a lot of anger because it's often a particular breed. And, you know, we all have our own issues with the breeds that we like or don't like. But again, this is a good time to send a heart hug and just say, I wish that dog and his people peace in their lives no matter what happens. You know, if a dog is acting like that, there's a lot going on that needs to be addressed. And if he's not in a situation where that can be handled, then, you know, we need to be able to appreciate that and allow for whatever needs to happen to keep other dogs safe. So that is a little thing that you can do with your dogs and with animals in the world called heart coherence. And it really is an important thing. It helps your own health. I now do these heart hugs to get heart coherence with my old guys, where I teach yoga on a dementia unit, a locked unit with pretty severely Alzheimer-y elderly guys at the Soldiers Home. I do this in my yoga classes, and I often do it when my clients come, before they're even in the house, when they're just in the driveway. Where are you going, little Tristan? The washer stopped running, and he's really excited now because that means something good could happen. So I often will do a heart hug for the dog or person that's coming to my house, and I just take a deep breath. And I think, may I do the best that I can in the time allowed to help this dog today when I do my heart hug. And you can do that even when you're just meeting another dog for a play date. May these dogs have the best time in a safe and healthy way that they can today. And you can do that with your own dog before a walk, you know. May my dog have a healthy, peaceful walk with no surprises that are not welcome, you know, or something like that, so that you can really connect with your dog and have a better experience with them. So heart coherence is part of my life on a daily basis. And I do use the app that's on my phone, and please go to the Heart Math Institute and download it and get it for yourself. I know when we were at a T-Touch class in Hawaii, of course we're in Hawaii and it's beautiful and we're all very relaxed, we were thinking we'd all be really good at getting heart coherence. And actually for some people, especially people who have very stressful lives and jobs, it was really hard for them to slow down their breathing and get in coherence according to what the Heart Math Institute phone app was telling us was heart coherence. But everyone there loves animals, and everyone there wanted to connect with their animals and with each other, with the other people in the room, because we're all there helping each other learn how to be with animals and people who love animals. And so it really only took a day or two for nearly everyone in the room to be able to find themselves in heart coherence within 5 to 10 breaths by using the app for your phone. And it's such a great thing that they have made an app so that you can bring this into your daily life. So I encourage you all to go to the Heart Math Institute website and look up heart coherence, and to find heart coherence with yourself and your animal. I think that it is one of the most important ways that we connect with animals in our lives. And I think it's a really important way for you to connect with a new animal in your life and to maintain that connection with animals that may have passed away or are no longer in your life. And I use it a lot with Tristan. Sometimes I do some heart hugs at night before we go to bed. He sleeps under the bed, I sleep on the bed, but I just do some heart hug circles, a circle and a quarter, and think about how much I love him and how thankful I am for his presence in my life that day and every day, because our dogs are really special to us. And I don't know that we spend enough time thanking them for the things that they do for us. And we all love them so much. And dogs don't really like to be hugged and squeezed and kissed like a little kid does. And maybe the little kids don't like it either. But doing heart hugs and putting yourself into heart coherence with your dog is one way that you can express to them your love and appreciation in a way that they can really hear it and understand it. And often when I'm with a new animal and I take this moment to pause with or without a heart hug and get myself into heart coherence with them, they will turn and come to me. This is one reason I think that when cats particularly come to my house, people are like, oh my God, I got to get him in the box. I got to drive him. It's, very hard. Can't you come to my house? And no, they need to come to my house because I'm too busy to drive around and go to cat house calls. So the kitties come, and within a minute of being here, nearly every one of them, when I bring myself into heart coherence with them, just lays down and starts purring in front of me. And the person is always amazed that they're not wandering around, exploring the room and getting into trouble. So it's a really great way to connect with your animals. And if you have an animal in your house, like a bird, like maybe a parakeet that you don't bring out and play with much, just putting yourself into heart coherence with that bird can change your relationship with him dramatically and make it so that you have a connection. A hamster, my gosh, you can hold a hamster on your heart and do a heart hug with the hamster on your heart. How great is that? Or a guinea pig, or even a small puppy. And I could probably do it with Tristan, but he's a little heavy and I would have to hold him in a way that would not be comfortable. So it's better for me to do heart hugs on him, or I often like to put my left hand on my heart and my right hand on his heart and do the heart hugs. So please check out what heart coherence is. It's a little hard to understand it because it really is more of an energetic connection, but you get that by doing really typical things that you understand: breathing slower, quieting your mind, thinking positive emotions like compassion and love and understanding, and pulling yourself away from anger and anxiety and depression and sadness about something that may be happening with an animal. So today's episode of Conversations with a Corgi has been about heart coherence. Tristan is wearing his little scarf that has pink flowers on it because we want it to be pink for the hearts. And we will be back again on Wednesday. We have Monday and Tuesday off because we will be at our job at the educational system of the universe. And then on Wednesday, we will be back with another episode of Conversations with a Corgi, and Thursday morning as well. At that point, we will be driving down to New Jersey, and I may even do something with my sister's dogs, because I'll have help then. Somebody can hold the camera and I can show you some things with her dogs, who I don't work on very much. She's got a lot of them. So, and then we will be off to the T-Touch class for a week. There are still places in that class if you want to come. Apparently, it's a little bit complex on the website now, because you had to pre-register, and it's hard to register if you haven't pre-registered. So again, you can call the office. Let me just quickly look that up for you. The office is in Santa Fe, and its number is 1-800-854-8326. So if you'd like to join us in Rockville, Maryland for this class, give them a call and tell them you'd like to sign up. So this is Sally Morgan and Tristan Corgi. Our Conversations with a Corgi today was about heart coherence. Look, Bess, there's little hearts because we're in heart coherence. This is Sally Morgan and Tristan Corgi. Have a great day. Find some heart coherence in your life and connect with your dog on a deep place today, or your cat, or your horse, or your bunny, or your hamster. And we will see you on Wednesday morning.